Welcome to Noel's World of Whiskey. And I'm going to have to let you know I skied all day. We just had a fresh dump of powder in the mountains. It hasn't been a great year, but it's sure been pretty incredible the last week or so. So when I'm not working, I'm out there in the snow. And so let's see how I do with this review, see how much energy I've got. But I had a great day, beautiful day. Fresh, light powder, blue sky. What more can you ask for? There's nothing that goes better with Scotch whiskey than a fishing rod and a pair of skis. And of course, a bowl of haggis. Anyways, Glengoyne. I have to admit that my trip to Japan there, the last couple of reviews have been a challenge. And I'm kind of, in a way, glad to get back to Scotland. We'll forget about that, and we'll move on to Glengoyne 18. This whiskey I've had around for a long time. You know, and I've tasted it before, but I haven't cracked the bottle here, you know? And when I got it, it was from just memory and some good memories. And I'm hoping I can repeat that. So we're going to open up the Glengoyne 18. I did do the 12 review not very long ago, and that was a winner. Yeah, I'm kind of a Glengoyne fan. So, and I am going to get right into it. I've got a little presentation thereafter while we let our whiskey sit. 18 years. It's going to be at least 20 minutes in that glass. And I will bring this up. My understanding was there was a time when this was not colored, but I don't know if there's any coloring in this. Good God, this company here, Glengoyne, has historically been curing their whiskeys in sherry casks, and they've got some things that they do similar to Macallan's, a few of the other distilleries in using the Golden Promise barley. So there's not a lot of distilleries that use the Golden Promise because it doesn't have a great yield, but a lot of distillers say it's flavorful, and so Glengoyne looks at it that way, and they're not in a hurry to change. So let's open this guy, and I'm going to put my glasses on here. Make sure I don't cut myself here. So, Glengoyne was the original name of this distillery right up in 1907. George McConnell, he was an illegal distiller back in 1820s, 1810, 1820, and he distilled on the Burnfoot farm illegally. And then in 1833 decided to go legal, and he got the distillery started, and it was called it was named Glengoyne. It wasn't until 1907 that they anglicized the name to Glengoyne. Glengoyne, Valley of the Geese, and you see the bird on the front of it there, the two birds. So, oh come on, let's get a pop going here. That's a little better. Okay. Oh, I can smell the sherry influence from here. Good Lord. Wow. Yeah. So, I'm kind of excited. Amazing that I haven't touched this bottle, and it's been around for a couple of years, for gosh sake. A couple of years, huh? Close to that, So you can take a peek at the bottle and the can. I'll bring them up there. And there's the can. Get it all in focus there so you can see it. And it's a little bit more compact than the box that they had. They had a monster box, but it's just a little bit more ergonomical there. So. And yeah, there's your geese, Glengoyne, Glen of the Geese. And here is your bottle 18. Again, get it in focus there. So, interesting thing about the bottle is that it has that color that I'm having a hard time believing that they're putting coloring in here, because they do use sherry cask finish. It spends the first part of its life in the bourbon cask, and then they finish it. They've been doing this since the beginning of time. Their finishing is and a lot of their maturation time is in sherry casks. So what we are going to do here is we are going to let this sit at least 20 minutes. 18, I'd like 25 minutes, I think is what it really should. 18 years in the cask. And I have a presentation here on the Glengoyne distillery. I'm actually going to Scotland, and this distillery has been highly recommended. Even Ralphie recommends it. It was the closest distillery to him when he was living in Glasgow, and he used to frequent it. Said it, basically it's one of the more beautiful distilleries in Scotland, and that's repeated by a lot of visitors and a lot of reviewers. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, and let's get into the video, and we will see you in about 25 minutes. George Connell begins illegal distilling at a hidden small glen and waterfall on the Burnfoot farm. Then in 1833, after building a larger distillery, he acquires a license. George acquired a 99-year lease on the land at Glengoyne, Gaelic for Glen of the Wild Geese. This also gave him the water rights. In 1869, a well-known local, Cochrane Cartwright, becomes the distillery manager. Unfortunately, in 1899, he drowns in the distillery lock after one too many drams, and Cartwright's ghost is said to be still lurking at that lock. Burnfoot was sold to John McClellan in 1851, and then he sold it to the Glasgow blender Lang Brothers in 1876. They changed the distillery's name to Glengoyne, and in 1905 they anglicized it to Glengoyne. In 1965, the Lang brothers were taken over by Robertson and Baxter, who later became the Edrington Group. In 1966, they rebuilt Glengoyne to what it is today. In 2003, the independent family-owned whiskey company, Ian MacLeod Distillers, bought Glengoyne from the Edrington Group. In 1984, the Lang brothers became suppliers of whiskey to the Queen Mother. The royal warrant has since been delegated to the new owner, Ian MacLeod. Glengoyne has a unique geographical location, with its distilling being done in the highlands and the casks of whiskey maturing in the warehouses across the road in the lowlands. Glengoyne, Macallan, Tamdhu, and Ben Romack are the few distilleries that still believe in using the older barley strain of Golden Promise mixed in with optic barley. Over 15,000 litres of water from Loch Taron is mixed with 3,900 kilograms of grist for 2.5 hours in the 4-ton semi-loader mash tun. Another 18,000 litres is added for the second and third wash cycles. Glengoyne ferments longer than normal, and it takes over 60 hours to ferment the wash in 6 19,000-litre organ pine washbacks that produce a mild, fruity beer. The 16,000-litre wash still has a reflux bowl and is charged with 12,700 litres of beer. The two 5,000-litre spirit stills are charged at 3,800 litres each and have one of the longest distilling times in the industry, producing 5 litres per minute as compared to the normal 20 litres per minute. The additional time of the copper contact of the distillate and the critical stages where the heart is cut off from the foreshots and the feints is key to the lighter and fruitier taste of this whiskey. We go from the distillery across the Highland line to the lowland dunnage warehouses, where Glengoyne has a history of using sherry casks since the late 1800s. The old barley kiln house was converted into the #1 warehouse, where you can sample and bottle the whiskey straight from the cask. The original 1833 warehouse, built by George Connell, is now the visitor reception area and the shop. Glengoyne Distillery is situated on the Highland Lowland line, 13.2 miles north of Glasgow, or a 30-minute drive. Well, welcome back. And we've let this sit at least 25-30 minutes, maybe. We are going to get right into the nose. Ooh, a very rich nose. Very rich nose. And I remember it being that way. The 12 was quite rich. We've got some of the citrus notes. They're all orange. Maybe even some bright apple. And leather. I'm getting some honey notes, almost like a forest honey. And there's our flower garden. You know, it's like a flower honey is what it is. Maybe even more of acacia honey. More so than the vanilla. And now the dark fruits are coming through. You know, we're getting, definitely getting the sherry influence here. It's actually coming in on quite strong now. This is one heck of a nose. Very, very complex nose. Because I'm now getting a little mustiness to it. Maybe even a bit of the malt. The malt is coming through now. Oh, wow. I could keep going. Anyways, we're going to get right into the palate. Slàinte. Sherry. Right off the bat. Sherry, sherry, sherry. Sweet. Sweet and dry. And I mentioned the forest honey, floral. I'd get right into probably dates. There's a richness to it. Date squares with the the granola type finish on a date square. And it's coating the mouth. 43% that almost could be a 46. My understanding with this is that it could be chill filtered. I had one reviewer went through the whole review saying it was non-chill filtered. Ralphie says it is. So if it is chill filtered, they're delivering pretty amazing for something that is chill filtered. So what would it be like if it wasn't? Little bit of the oak is coming through. The oak I'm going to say the sherry oak. I'm actually quite impressed with the sherry influence here. It's very balanced. It's not overpowering. It's not an abonad. Obviously, it's not as potent as an abonad. But let's put it this way: it's not an abalure. But it could definitely it would rank as a good sherry presentation, and the way it's been introduced here. I would say, again, I would go with the word balanced. Very balanced with the oak. A little bit of the pepper coming through now. I'm getting a little bit of the orange marmalade. Even a little bit of the fudgy stuff going on. Okay, we're going to get into the development and the finish. Slàinte. I'm just going to say it's just amplified itself. I've got a heavy hit of oak. Not getting the bitterness that some of the reviewers are getting. I don't know if I got a more of a tolerance for that astringency, but I'm getting more of a balanced sweet pepper, cinnamon, little nutmeg, Definitely the peppers, very slight astringency. Enough that it makes it actually quite interesting. Still got that coating in my mouth, but it's gone from dry to a little bit more moist. The sherry is still there. Oak and sherry. And bit of marmalade. Chocolate. Bit of tobacco. Boy, with the chocolate, I'm going to say mocha. Bit of coffee. And the tobacco is kind of recessing. It's going to the background now. The astringency is gone. And I just have a nice coating on my mouth. And I'm going to say the finish is much longer. It's a medium long finish. This is the longest finish I've had in a 43 that I can remember. Other than, I think the Everdor was quite interesting. It had a fairly strong finish, but medium long for sure. So I'm going to get right into water. Let's just see what this does with water. So, interesting story. Cochrane Cartwright was a very well-known distiller. Distilled with them back in 1869, I think is when he became the master distiller, and spent 30 years at the distillery until 1899, when he had one too many drams, and he drowned in their loch. And the story is that if you walk by the loch at night, you still see his ghost. So with water, very fudgy, sweet, and floral. Still getting a wee bit of the oak, and definitely getting the sherry influence. So the water didn't get rid of the sherry influence here. You know, it's just a real toffee, fudgy smell to it. And a little bit of mustiness, the leather notes I mentioned earlier. Okay, the palate with water, Slàinte. Nutmeg, pepper, cinnamon, ginger, marmalade again, maybe a grapefruit note, more of a sweet grapefruit, and the toffee's there, the McIntosh's toffee is there, wee bit of the oak happening. It tastes older. It actually tastes older than an 18. I just had a 24-year-old whiskey there the other day. There, it was actually a Glenlivet, and this has that age of a 20-plus whiskey. It's really quite a rich whiskey. I mean, I'm impressed. I think I've analyzed it a lot more when I first drank it, given it, you know, a little bit more of attention and trying to understand the whiskey back when I first tried it. I was probably more about, you know, let's have a sip and see what this 18-year-old's all about. But now, you know, having, you know, drank so many 18-year-olds and 21-year-olds, etc., there's something about age that you identify with in a whiskey if it's well done, if it's had good cask treatment, and you know, good you've got a good management of your casks. And I really think Glengoyne's on top of it. They've been involved in these sherry casks, you know, for 100 years. So in the early days they did it because it was economic, and today it's become very expensive. So. But this is an impressive 18-year-old, and I'm going to give it some high marks. You know, Ralphie gave it 85. I'd easily give this an 86, maybe even an 87. I I'm not sure what bottle he got. The bottle I got, that's what it deserved. Now, sure, some of his criticism was the 43. I'm going on the taste of the whiskey. Let's put it this way. I'm probably more critical with chill filtering than the fact that it's a 43. I know that a lot of times I like to see 40s going up to 43, and of course we want to see 43s go up to 46s. So I'm going to stick with, you know, it's an 86 or an 87. This is a recommend. This is a distillery that I have a high respect for. Really, if you get the opportunity, if there's an 18 around, I didn't pay more than 175-ish, somewhere around there for it. It might be a little higher than that today, but it's still not over the top. Most of those whiskeys in Canada in the 18 are topping well above $200 today. There's only a few of them left that are, you know, still in that 180, the 180, 190 range there. So I just say kudos to them if they can keep the price in that area. So that's my review on the Glengoyne 18. So I am going to ask you to drink wisely, drink intelligently, and do not drink and drive. And until the next time, so long.